9 signs that a man is lying to you. In this video, we will talk about lying. Trust is an important component of healthy, happy, and strong relationships. And if you realize that something is not right in your relationships, for example, you start catching yourself thinking that your man is lying to you, that he is being dishonest with you, then this video is for you. By certain aspects of his behavior and specific signals, you can tell that the man is indeed being dishonest. So, let's go step by step. The first thing that indicates a man is lying is nervousness and changes in behavior. So, he was acting one way, you ask a question that concerns you, and he suddenly changes his behavior. That is, if he was calm and suddenly becomes irritated, he might start yelling, he might accuse you of something, he might behave completely differently, meaning one question completely changes him. This could be a change in voice. He might start yelling or, on the contrary, start whispering, speaking very quietly. His voice might start trembling. So, if you see a sudden change in a person's behavior when asked a certain question, it is possible that the man is lying. Next, avoiding eye contact. When a man lies, he wants to look away, and often his gaze shifts to the side or down. This means he speaks without looking you in the eyes because he might feel ashamed at some point, which disrupts eye contact. Next, increased sweating. For example, his palms might suddenly start sweating, or he might start wiping his forehead. You see that he suddenly became very hot, possibly red. And these are all indicators that he is currently not telling the truth. Next, inappropriate gestures. He starts adjusting his clothes, fiddling with his hair, twisting something, rubbing something. That is some strange. You understand that the gestures are strange right now. In everyday life, such gestures are not present. All this can indicate that. Firstly, the man is very uncomfortable right now. He is lying, and this is a defensive reaction, fidgeting with something. He is sweating as there's a storm of emotions inside. Something is happening with his voice, and he is not making eye contact. And these indicators may suggest that he is currently not telling the truth. Next, defensive phrases. The best defense is a good offense. So why don't you trust me? You're always ready to accuse me of everything. You always suspect me of something. You just don't know how to trust people, and so on. Any defensive phrases. That is, you ask a question, why did you do this and that? Why didn't you come home? Why didn't you make it? Why did you? And so on. But the man already sees a trick in this question, and he defends himself and attacks you to make you feel ashamed or guilty about your question, so that the topic of conversation, for example, shifts. This can also indicate that he is lying. Furthermore, excessive detailing, meaning he starts telling something and the details are so unnecessary and inappropriate. He wants it to look believable and begins to make up details that are not related to the topic of the conversation. It doesn't interest you at all, but in order to make his answer seem more comprehensive and detailed, he starts making up details. Or, perhaps at that moment, he is inventing the continuation of his story, for example. And that's exactly why he needs these details now. So, this could also indicate that he is lying. Moving on, changing the subject of the conversation. For example, if you ask, where were you? Why didn't you come? Why were you late? And so on. He says, oh, that's all nonsense. Let me tell you something. And then he starts switching to talking about some friend, acquaintance, or something that happened at work. Or he switches the focus to you. Or you ask, where were you? Why didn't you answer the phone? He says, remember, I called you, you didn't pick up. He tries to shift the focus onto you. Any opportunity to avoid the conversation indicates that he doesn't want to talk about it and possibly doesn't want to talk to avoid lying. If he has to talk, then he has to lie. Therefore, if you see these attacks, shifts, and changes in behavior, it only indicates the man's lies. Next, projection and accusation. Cheaters suspect everyone around them of cheating. That is, if a man, for example, is a cheater, he will suspect you of cheating. He will talk about how all women cheat, and so on. A liar will see lies everywhere. They will say that this person is lying, and that one, and so on. Every person projects themselves onto others. meaning we see other people through the prism of ourselves. If you hear from your man that everyone around is lying, everyone around is a liar, and no one can be trusted, take a closer look at your man. He might be telling you about himself. That is why cheaters drive their women crazy with jealousy scenes, because they themselves understand that they can cheat at any, for example, moment. So listen carefully to what your man is saying. Next, illogicality and contradiction. For example, he says he is going on a business trip, and then there are some illogical facts. Or he says he went to his parents' place or went fishing, but came back without any fish, and so on. In other words, there are some inconsistencies, illogicalities. For example, he says that went somewhere to the north, came back with a tan. Well, I'm exaggerating a lot, but the principle is clear. So you understand and feel that there is some illogicality, some inconsistencies. That is why wives often start suspecting their men of lying, because these signals trigger all these thought processes. When she realizes that there was some inconsistency, there was a feeling that he lied, something doesn't add up, doesn't fit together, and this is often already an indicator that you are being deceived. We are always interested in the topics that exist in our lives. That is, if you are wondering whether you are being deceived, it is most likely that you are being deceived. Just watch your man closely. Next, the reluctance to give details. For example, a man says he was busy, for instance, he didn't come, didn't answer the phone, was busy all evening, and when asked what he was busy with, he avoids the answer. He doesn't give details or doesn't want to talk about it at all. That is, he doesn't give details because, possibly, the details haven't been made up yet. He met with some friends, and he doesn't say which friends, because he doesn't know what to talk about now, because maybe you know all his friends, and he's already scared. Delaying the response. You ask him a direct question, and he says, "Not now. I'll tell you later." This means the person needs to prepare in order to answer the question. In other words, if a person has nothing to hide and is sincere and honest with you, it won't be difficult for them to talk about what you are asking. Well, as soon as a delay is needed, it means that the person most likely needs to prepare an answer or somehow avoid answering altogether. The tone of voice, that is, the tone can fluctuate. It can either become high or very low. When the voice changes, when the behavior changes, when the emotions on the face change, when a person suddenly changes with a certain question, it indicates that they are hiding something. That's all for this video. This was me, Elisa Vardomskaya. I hope for your likes and subscriptions. Write in the comments what you would like to discuss in my new videos. And goodbye, everyone.